Welcome, everybody. This is Buck Joffrey with the Wealth Formula Podcast. And this is Friday's show today. And of course, we always do something a little bit different on Fridays. And today I want to talk to you a little bit about stuff that I've been doing and stuff that you might want to get involved with me. As you know, for years, we've been on a journey together. I've been podcasting personal finance for over 10 years now. And as part of that, helping you and others, potentially navigate between the complexities of alternative investing, understanding the economy, the fundamentals of asset protection and estate planning, and of course, tax mitigation, something that has been a major focus of this show. A lot of you have actually even been, through the Wealth Formula Roadmap course that I released back in 2017 as well. That was very helpful to many in terms of understanding the ins and outs of personal finance and putting it all in one place. But here's the question for you, and one that I've had for myself now for a few years, which is, what good is financial success if you're not healthy enough to join it? Now, I am now in my 50s, which is a little weird to say, and frankly, a little disturbing to say. I am now 51, actually, to be honest. I've realized that during this time that while building financial freedom is crucial, none of it, matters if your health doesn't keep up. And that's why over the past few years, some of I've kind of really put on my physician cap back on and immersed myself into the world of longevity, medicine, and science. It's actually a big part of who I am in my past. I was a biochemistry and molecular biology major, a big science geek, and ended up obviously as a surgeon and that kind of thing. Of course, I ended up in a different direction, the entrepreneurial direction. But listen, a lot of us, everybody has multiple facets to their life. And for me, a lot of my intellectual interests outside of investing are in my health and trying to kind of keep up with medicine, longevity medicine in particular. Now, I say longevity medicine, that is actually not technically a specialty right now, but it is something that a number of physicians, including myself, I would put in that place, are kind of pioneering from the ground up, because it is something that is a thing. And what is that thing? Well, a big part of this new kind of longevity medicine is based around education and empowerment. The days of seeing medicine as something that you just turn to when you're sick, those are not what the current longevity paradigm is all about. It's longevity medicine is about a proactive lifestyle that ultimately plays offense against disease. You see, we're used to playing just defense. Think about it, right? When's the last time you went to to your doctor, and why? It's because you're sick, right? And the problem with that is the older you get, those visits when you're sick, you're not feeling well, those can end up being really catastrophic visits. They're not just like, hey, here's some pills, but hey, you've got heart disease, or hey, you've got cancer. We really want to avoid that. And the way you avoid that is by becoming educated, becoming empowered about your health. I mean, frankly, at least as much as your personal finances. There's people out there, and I know this to be the case, that know more about their cars and take better care of their cars than they do their own health. Well, and part of that is not really your own fault, because with your cars, you're kind of trained, right? Like you've got warning lights, you got a fuel gauge, little thing shows you how much, oil, if you're running low on oil, or if you're overheating or whatever, all those elements. A lot of electronics these days too. We don't really traditionally use those kinds of things on our own selves. And it used to be the case that there was nothing available along that line where you would be able to tell that there was something going on in your body that you needed to stay on top of. But now there is. And the problem is that medicine, the way it is actually currently practiced still, is lagging, like, a century behind in terms of what we should be doing to prevent disease. And that's what longevity medicine is all about. Not to mention, we have all sorts of really exciting innovations and things coming down the pipeline that I believe is realistically, in my opinion, in the next 2 decades, it is quite possible that we actually end up in a period where there is age reversal. And I'm not just talking about slowing down age. I'm talking about literally about age reversal. on next week's Longevity Junkies show, for example, you'll hear me interview a guy by the name of Aubrey de Grey, who is this brilliant mathematician slash computer scientist slash biologist and futurist. He's been talking about something called the longevity escape velocity, which is this point where medicine and science become so advanced that essentially outpaces our aging, and has this idea that potentially you can therefore perpetually renew your body in the same way that people perpetually renew cars. People who built cars, as Aubrey said, I think one of the things he said in that interview was that people who built these cars back like in the 30s or 40s, if you ever told them that their car might be around in 100 years, they would have laughed because they weren't meant to do that. But the reality is we have all sorts of ways of doing that. We replace things and that kind of thing. That kind of world is approaching in medicine. We're not here yet. And you know what? Listen, we may not get there exactly in time for us, right? But we might. The only thing we can do in the meantime is take advantage of what we do know in medicine, like what is really cutting edge. And what is cutting edge and what we know in medicine right now is enough to probably, for most people who are not really following this kind of regimen, probably add 10 years of good life to your life. And I'm not talking about 10 years of life in a wheelchair. I'm talking about, a really good life. And the other thing is, it occurs to me that there's a lot of people out there who are in their 40s and 50s, for example, that really are not in good health. There's issues with gaining weight or feeling tired all the time or, low libido and things like these that are eminently reversible if you actually understood what it was that was going on in your body. So that's why I created this thing that I'm calling the Longevity Roadmap. It is a course. It teaches you how your body works. It teaches you how disease works. And that, as you can imagine, is the first thing you need to understand. If you understand how disease gets there in the first place, you actually have a fighting chance to prevent it. And so that is the point of Longevity Roadmap. You're going to learn about how disease happens, how to prevent it early on, and then we get into a little bit, some of the more technology-oriented things with how you can continue to monitor your health, how you can manipulate your health. We talk about a lot of things related to diet, exercise, sleep. And these are things that, you'll hear a million things from a million different influencers these days, but there's one science, and that's what I'm planning on giving you. I'm giving you the science, and it's not going to sound exactly what you're hearing from a lot of these social media influencers and all that. And it's probably going to be different what some of your doctors say too. And I'm okay with that. I'm not there to be your doctor. I'm there to give you my own research. By the way, if you've known me for about, say, the last 10 years, or, even 5 years for that matter, and you saw me today, you would know that this is working for me. I am in really good shape right now. I look younger than I did 5 years ago. I'm stronger by a mile. We tell, biological age is one of the things that we talk about in terms of blood work, is over 10 years younger than I chronologically am. These are things that are priceless, right? And I really wanted to be able to share that with this audience and hopefully get you inspired to do the same, because I think making money is one thing, but this is like a lifestyle that I don't think it's that hard, frankly, to live. It's a little bit different. There's adapting to various principles when it comes to your diet. It's about doing the right kind of exercise. It's about monitoring your sleep and making sure you're getting the right thing. Looking at supplements, potentially getting on other kinds of medications that might tweak a few more years here and there. It's about getting early interventions, early imaging, things like that. There's way too much for me to even go into right here. So I'm going to invite you to go to longevityroadmap.com and check out a video that I created on this to give you a better idea of what this course is all about. And all I can say is I really, really hope you'll join me, because I think it's an incredible journey, one that goes hand in hand with all of the wealth building, all of the other stuff that we do in this particular podcast. Anyway, that's it for me today and on this podcast this week. This is Buck Joffrey signing off.